Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Western Europe Community Connection. My name is Madalena Lima. I'm the Azure Dev Product Marketing Manager in Portugal, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. I'm here also with the whole team of Western Europe, so all the Azure Dev Product Marketing Managers across Western Europe. Thank you very much. They all contributed to this session. Some will be speakers, some moderators, and some will be behind the scenes. Thank you also to our lovely guest speakers that are here today to share their stories. The objective of this session is really to share inspiring stories with you from developers, community leaders, and tech heroes that are here today, and also to connect with you. So please feel free to use the Q&A to connect with us, talk with us in our social networks. I will show in a while all the members of the team, so be completely free to do it. Okay, so this year we are under different circumstances, as we know, but we are live streaming from our homes and full of energy to be here with you. I have to say also that today we have some swag to offer. So we will have some swag packages to offer to all the people that participate in the questions and the challenges that we launch in the different segments of the agenda. You can participate in two ways: in the Q&A, in the chat, or in Twitter using the hashtag WE Communities. Okay, so before starting, I want to show the code of conduct and say that we seek fun, friendly, but also respectful and inclusive experiences for all the participants, and we also count on you for that. Okay, so now the agenda for today. After this introduction, I will start with Azure Technical Communities. What are these Azure Technical Communities? How can they help you? And today I have two communities to share their stories with you: SQL Server in Ireland, in PyLadies, Amsterdam. Then we will have inspiring stories with Sherry. Sherry is a very inspiring person to me, and she's here today with other very inspiring women to share their stories. Then we'll have Juicy from Finland with a panel discussion on inclusiveness and accessibility, which are very relevant topics for us. Then we will have how the world acted the crisis with Maxim from Norway. We all face this sudden crisis, but hopefully there are many people out there that created very efficient and quick solutions, and many of them uses technologies, and we will get to know what is happening in this session. Then we'll have Florian from Switzerland with developer pet projects. So there are many projects that developers are working on for several reasons, and Florian will explain this better. And then we'll have the closing with our great colleague Nick that will share with you the next steps and also the results of the swag contest that we just launched. So, starting with the Azure Technical Communities. And again, I have here today two communities with me. So, why tech togetherness matters? I bring this image today of a neighborhood in Mexico, Las Palmitas, because although in a completely different context, this truly has the meaning of belonging to a community. What happened in this neighborhood? All the people living in these houses painted their neighborhood together, and they created this beautiful painting. So all the individual houses combined created this beautiful design. And there were some other benefits reported, like it became a more peaceful and joyful neighborhood. So this just summarized that when we work together, the whole is higher than the sum of the parts. There are many benefits of belonging to a community. I think we all know. It's an informal way to learn. You grow your network, you have some opportunities, you make friendships, moments of joy, and you give to others, which is also a very sweet feeling. So what are Azure technical communities? These are this is an offer from Microsoft to Azure-friendly community leaders that run events and meetups that help others to learn about the cloud. So right now, there are over 220 ATCs, Azure Technical Communities, around the world, and you can be part of this big group, big family. So, and as you can see in this map, there are all the communities signed there. There are also some benefits to be part of the ATCs, like you can exchange information and best practices with all these communities in the newsletter, in the quarterly calls, and also you have access to additional resources and sometimes early access to these resources. So what is the best way to be part of ATCs? It's exactly to talk with the local dev PMM in your country. So these are the local dev PMMs in all the Western Europe countries. I'll show this slide for a while just because if you want to connect with us in the through LinkedIn, through Twitter, be completely free. We really want to connect with you. So talk with us, ask your questions, be completely free to talk with us. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, I have two different communities with me, three community leaders. I will start with SQL Server Ireland with Bob, that is here today to present an initiative that is running right now. Thank you, Bob, so much for joining. Can you please introduce yourself and explain what is the initiative that you're running now?
Sure, yeah. My name is Bob Duffy. So I help run the SQL Ireland user group. So it runs on the sort of meetup platform. It's probably the oldest user group in Ireland. It was established in around 2006, and I've helped sort of take over running it in around 2012 or so. We'd run kind of meetups kind of once every month in person, traditional meetups, you know, beer and pizza and a bit of social kind of gathering. Obviously, when April hit, all in-person meetups completely gone, right? So they're all cancelled, and we didn't want to completely stop community activity for, could be 3, 6, 7 months. We have no idea, right? So what we did is we met up with all the other similar meetups in Ireland. So we found that there were about 6 similar meetups in Ireland, 2 data platform kind of user groups, one in Dublin, one in Cork, 2 Power BI kind of user groups, and 2 sort of Power Apps. And there was a similar ethos. People could be members of all 6, right? So with that, we came up with the idea to drive a countrywide sort of virtual initiative called Microsoft Community Cafe. So Microsoft Community Cafe, the idea behind it is it would be sort of a countrywide initiative through all 6 of the user groups. So we sort of decided to run it on the Teams platform. So we had lots of talk about, we wanted a platform where kind of people could chat, could ask questions, but we needed to have the abilities to, say, for example, mute everyone so it wasn't complete sort of chaos. So we went with the format of sort of having a moderator each week and a speaker each week, and we went for weekly events, fairly short, under an hour, fairly easy. People could come and join at any point. They could chat in the kind of chat of Teams if they wanted to. They could ask a question of the speaker, and the moderator would help kind of bubble that up. And so far we've booked 14 sessions. And by most kind of metrics, we would count it as a success. Like, we've had an average of about 70 attendance, which is probably a little bit more than we get with in-person meetings. And we survey everyone at the end of every session. So on the feedback, we can see that we've got an average speaker rating of about 4.8 out of 5. We can see the sort of distribution of where people are coming from. So we can see we have sort of Dublin, Cork, Belfast. Quite surprisingly, we actually found outside of Ireland, we have kind of people coming from East Coast of America, Argentina, India, Europe, and if people like the sort of topic, they're actually sort of taking part, even though it is sort of an Irish initiative. So that's a little bit about the background of the community cafe. Obviously, plans for the future now is, we think it's been so successful that even after COVID list, we'll probably continue this sort of type of initiative, because we can get a much kind of wider reach, and it's a bit freer and easier for sort of people to actually join it. Okay, so that's a quick segment about kind of what's happening in Ireland here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing with us this incredible initiative. Now we have from PyLadies, Eliona and Demi, to share also the community and what the incredible projects on the that they are doing right now.
Okay, thanks, Madalena. I quickly introduce myself. So my name is Elena Galeva, and I work as a principal data solutions engineer with emphasis on machine learning productionizing at Linkit. Also, I'm one of 2 co-organizers of PyLadies Amsterdam. So I want to briefly introduce what a PyLadies Amsterdam exactly is. We are a local chapter recognized by Python Software Foundation of a global non-profit PyLadies. What differentiates our user group in this case in comparison with the other one? I think this is doing. So we actually act on diversity in technology. What we decided to do, so we decided to bring focus and real coding back to tech meetups. So Python programmers, despite the label that society can give them, think of sexuality, race, gender, whatever, they can, in a safe manner, actually effectively share knowledge and enrich their coding styles. So mainly our 2 majority directions before were offline meetups on a monthly basis. During these meetups, we were given Python coding workshops. They were tailored by level and the topic. And then later we decided, with all this latest development, we decided to try something new. And in this case, it's a Python bootcamp. And for this one, I want to switch to Demi to tell more about this workshop, about this bootcamp. Thanks.
Yeah, so what we've done, hi, I'm Demi, and also a co-organizer for PyLadies. We have come up with an initiative that's called the Python Bootcamp, because we got feedback from all of the members of our community that they really liked our meetups in person, but they kind of missed the structure and they want to learn more. So we came up with the initiative to do a free bootcamp, more sessions, so 4 sessions in a row, where people with 0 programming experience could join the bootcamp for 4 weeks in a row and got support from mentors from all over the world in a Slack channel group, so they could ask questions to their mentors during the bootcamp from 4 weeks. Currently, we had 3 sessions and about 100 participants, so 100 signups, which was so much more that we could expect when we did this in live. And that, I think, is really a value that we could bring now to the community and help so many more people than we could before. It is so successful at this moment that we really consider doing more boot camps, and the next step would probably be a machine learning boot camp. What is also very important to mention is that we don't exclude men or anything. We just include everybody in our boot camps. So that was it about our boot camps.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Demi and Aliona. So, and we have a great surprise. Brandon Burns, Matt Torgerson, and James Montemagno just joined this call. So thank you so much. They are lead engineers and at Microsoft. So just a quick introduction. Brandon Burns is corporate VP, one of the inventors of Kubernetes. Matt Torgerson, lead design of the C language. James Montemagno, principal program manager and key for the Xamarin. So thank you so much for joining this call. So everybody can ask them questions in the Q&A because they will be here to answer. Just finishing, as I said, there is this swag contest, so you can receive this swag package. In this segment, the question is, tell us what is your favorite dev community. You can participate in the Q&A or through Twitter with the hashtag WE dev communities. And now, handing over to Sherry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madalena. Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry List, and I'm your host for this section of the show, which is called Inspiring the Stories. During March, we interviewed 33 women across Europe where they shared their journey in tech and how they become the successful person as they are today. All these women, apart from their daily work, they constantly investing their time and energy in the community to empower others around them. All these stories are available under Azure_Heroes on our DevTools channel, and I really encourage you to read those stories. So, as for today, we have 4 of these ladies here with us, and we are going to have a conversation around the importance of the community and role model. Let's start the round of introduction with you, Raida. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Sherry. Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. So my name is Raida. I'm a developer and Scrum Master at Young Capital, where I'm part of their platform team. I'm quite active in several tech communities, like the monthly Amsterdam Ruby meetup I organize, and also the Rails Girls events throughout the entire Netherlands. So Rails Girls is an event for women and girls to get them more familiar with coding and kind of give them a taste of code. And during this event, we build an application together. We do make sure that all the participants have a coach they can pair with. And also all the coaches are community members. So I'm also a mother of 2 teenagers, so I think that my negotiating skills are pretty well developed by now. Maybe that's why organizing comes so naturally to me. That's me. Thank you.
Most probably, yes. But let's go to Pia. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for having me. My name is Pia. I'm 26 years old and I live in Linz in Upper Austria. I've been working as a software developer for the past 6 years and recently also started part-time teaching as well, which is a really nice combination in my opinion, because one of the things I love most about software development is that you can never stop learning. And teaching is a great way to learn new things as well. Next to my work, I'm mentoring at the local kids programming club, the Coder Dojo. And I recently founded an initiative with some colleagues of mine to get more women into tech, where we organize study groups for women as well. When I'm not sitting in front of my laptop, I like to go rock climbing, read books, or go to concerts and music festivals. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic, thank you. And you, Eva, please?
Yeah, hi everyone. Very, very excited to be here. So I'm Eva, and I took a less traditional path perhaps into programming because I decided to quit my job when I turned 30, and I started to learn how to program. And 18 months later, without having any previous programming experience, I landed my first full-time programming gig. I now work remotely for a Norwegian startup called Vivio. At the moment, I live in Brussels, which is in Belgium, where I also run Include.js, which is an initiative to get more women and underrepresented groups into tech. I love learning and I love teaching. I agree with Pia that teaching is one of the best and fastest and very, very rewarding ways to learn. I'm also quite active on Twitter. So if you have any questions about how to start your journey in tech, if you're lacking motivation or resources, please do get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And you, Anna, please?
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited about it. So I'm a developer advocate at Auth0, and like you mentioned, in my free time, I'm a very active member in the community. I am one of the conference organizers of NG Spain, which is an annual conference here in Spain. And I'm also very passionate about diversity and inclusion. So I am the founder of Girls Tech, which is a local group for women in tech, but I'm also a Women Tech Makers ambassador. So as you can see, I'm pretty active in the community, but I also have two amazing kids, one who is 5 and the other who is 10 months old. So if you have any questions on work-life balance, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's start the conversation by you, Raida. That in your story, you mentioned that when you were a child, you didn't have a role model. And can you tell us how that affects you and why it's important to have a role model?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I missed like a visible representation of someone I looked up to and someone I wanted to become. Also, that I was never encouraged to pursue a career in tech, basically. And actually, back in the days, I was kind of, well, people were different then, and I was like actively discouraged to pursue a career in tech because also I don't look like a developer. So still get this comment these days still. So how did I get into coding? Basically, it was like a resilience. At one point, I owned my own company, and every time when I asked my developer team to change something small, it took them a while. At one point, I was kind of like, okay, now I'm going to do this myself. How hard can this be, right? So I enrolled in this development bootcamp thing, and that point on, I was hooked. Like, this is it. This is something I want to do. Well, since I have 2 teenagers, my ability to figure things out have been enhanced during these years. So I was pretty self-autonomous. So now I have when I look back, I kind of wish there was someone who kind of like motivated me when I was younger or told me more about these possibilities. And now I have 2 teenagers of my own. And I'm trying hard to teach them more about tech and the future of tech and things I think they need to know about tech. And so, for instance, my 17-year-old, he built his very own web shop, and I try to help him as much as I can. My 15-year-old daughter is another challenge, but maybe I shouldn't focus too much about teaching my kids on how to code, but maybe more about the opportunities in tech.
Yeah, that's actually, you brought up a really interesting topic, which is about being role model to the youngest. I don't have a child, so I cannot that much relate to that. But I know that, for example, Anna has a 6-year-old daughter, that when I asked her that what you want to do when you grow up, she mentioned that she wants to be an international speaker just like her mom. Which shows that it's really good that when the kids, they have role models like this. And also for her science project, she created a chatbot. She presented it to the school and then asked the kids that to kind of to ask your question from the chatbot, which is amazing. And I know you, Pia, that you're very involved involved in teaching kids, and you're involved in multiple different initiatives related to that. And can you talk about these initiatives?
Sure, thanks. As I mentioned earlier, I am a mentor at the Coda Dojo. Coda Dojo is not really something we came up with. It's a global initiative. There are more than 2,000 different Coda Dojos all around the globe. And it's in principle a programming club. Kids who are passionate about football and want to get better at football can go to a football club. So kids who are passionate about programming and want to learn more about it can go to a Coda Dojo. We try to give them short exercises where they can try out different things in little small projects and learn how to program and code in a very fun way. It shouldn't feel like homework or school. It should really be fun, and the kids should like it. I often get asked why we are doing this at all, so why we are mentoring at a Coda Dojo, for example. And I can just say it's really amazing and very rewarding to see the kids grow, to see them being passionate about it. And you also learn a lot yourself. Also, I would have really loved to visit a Coda Dojo when I was young, because then I might have found my passion for it earlier. And I think there are quite some generations that missed out on this lightweight and fun way of getting to learn how to program and getting to learn about tech in general. So that's also one of the reasons some colleagues of mine founded this other initiative where we have a programming club kind of for grown women, where we aim to get more women into the tech industry. So we meet every 2 weeks together, have some drinks, have some food, and we just program together, whatever we want. And in this way, we want to show that you don't have to go to university to study computer science. You can just try it out and figure it out if you like it or not.
Yeah, that's very true. Many people out there, they might think that the only way to become a programmer is only going by having a computer science degree and go to university. But there are other ways. There are a lot of other initiatives like the one that you described. And I also know that, for example, you, Eva, that you started your journey differently, and you had totally different education. So, and you joined this coding skills. Can you tell us about your journey, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. So so my background is in linguistics, but I did not ever feel like I have a career that I'm passionate about. So when I turned 30, I started looking for other careers and opportunities, and I chanced upon a workshop called Django Girls. And my wife and I flew to Belfast, and on a Saturday we spent the whole day learning about HTML and CSS and how to deploy your website. And it was just very exciting because I entered the classroom in the morning knowing nothing, and I left with having some sort of knowledge about how the internet works, which was very, very exciting. So after that, we flew back to Milton Keynes, where we lived there then, and we decided that we're gonna try and organize initiatives like this in our town. So we started with Django Girls workshop, and then we started organizing regular meetups for women and underrepresented groups of all skills, backgrounds, and ages. So our youngest student was 9 years old, and our oldest was a grandmother of, I don't know, 65 or something. So it was very, very, very cool group. And I learned a lot there. So I was not a professional developer by then, but I would study on my own. And then everything I learned by myself, I would go and teach others. And that kind of accelerated my learning as well. And through the meetups, I met a lot of other volunteers, coaches, people who are still friends my friends today. And I also met similar people, the people that were also like wondering whether tech is something for them, and maybe people that never had an opportunity to try and do not have a traditional computer science degree. So it was a very encouraging, empowering environment. So Girls Code MK grew from 0 members to 600 members that it has today. We moved country and it still exists and thrives. And now instead of that, we run Include.js, which is a similar initiative with like similar goals, and it's very, very exciting. And I encourage everyone to join a community.
And yes, I can relate with what you mentioned, that by getting involved in a community, teaching others, you constantly also grow yourself, and also it can help you to grow your career as well. And I know, for example, you, Anna, you have similar background, more or less. You also come from totally different background, not a computer science, and then you grew through the community, and also it helped you to advance your career as well. Can you tell your story, please?
Yeah, sure. But just before I do, we keep hearing this word community, and I just wanted to put a definition to that. So what is a community? The definition of community is a group of people that have a particular characteristic in common. So we think about this word within the tech world, it might be something more broader, just like the tech community. But it could also be something more specific, whether it's framework or language specific, right? Or maybe it could be something where you feel more welcome, maybe a group for underrepresented people, or so on. I really encourage that you go and find a community where you feel comfortable in, and this is very important because it has helped me in so many ways. Like, it's helped me grow my career. I wouldn't be where I am today without the help of the community. It's also helped me and Sherry achieve our goals. So we saw lots of role models within the community speaking on stage, and I know that we both wanted to be part of that. And we got there thanks to the community. Also, the community can help with other problems, such as coding and technical problems. But at the end of the day, for me, the community is actually just like my second family, where I know that I have people who are always willing to help or are just there for you. So I really encourage you to go and find a community where you feel welcome, where you feel safe. And if you want to know any more, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Yes, totally. Community is, for me and most people, and I'm pretty sure that for the other ladies that they are here in this call, is like our second family. And if you want to get involved in the community, if you want to start a new initiative even, you can always reach out to any of these ladies and I included on Twitter, and we will definitely help you. We don't have much of time left, so I need to mention one important part, that you can see the hashtag that we have here, hashtag WE-community. You can tell us who inspired you to become a programmer, and you will receive, actually one person will receive a swag pack. You can also type in the chat window as well, and with that, I would just say that let's say goodbye to all of you there, and I'm going to handing it over to my colleague Jussi in Helsinki. So bye everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Sherry. This was inspirational. When you mentioned the inspiration from kids, I'm thinking my 3 boys, they love playing Minecraft, so I hope I'm influencing them positively. So hello from Helsinki, Finland, to everybody tuning in. Next up, we have a panel discussion on inclusive and accessible communities. And before I introduce our panelists, just a brief reminder that we also have James, Mads, Miguel, and Brendan open for your questions in the Q&A. And also, if you have any questions to any of the panelists, feel free to use the Q&A as well. So today we have the panelists. We have Sakari, Isidora, Goran, and Maria. Let's do a quick round of intros first, perhaps in the order we have in the slide, and then we get to the questions. Sakari, please.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. I can see myself, so apparently it's working. I'm Sakari Nahi. I'm an Azure MEP. I'm CEO and founder of Zure.com. It's a company in Finland and in Belgium. We build Azure solutions. I'm also a founder of Finland Azure User Group. And Finland Azure User Group has a bit over 1,600 members in Finland, and we host about 10 events yearly during normal season. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm done.
Awesome. So I guess it's my turn. Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Isidora Katanic. I'm currently based in Basel in the beautiful country, Switzerland. However, I'm born in former Yugoslavia. I grew up in the Netherlands. Yeah, and I ended up here in Switzerland now. So I work for a Swiss IT company called Make It Noble. We assist customers basically in everything around Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. And next to that, I also have a very active role in the community, organize Experts Live, which are IT community conferences focused on everything Microsoft Cloud, data center, security, and modern workplace. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here on the panel today.
Hi all, my name is Goran Vukšić. I'm originally from Croatia, moved to Denmark 5 years ago and recently moved to Sweden, Malmö, where I work now as a technical manager at Stratitech. Yeah, I'm an active person in communities, attending and helping with organization a lot of hackathons and different events, and I'm happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Maria Ovchnikova. I'm originally from Russia, but I grew up in Cyprus. Today, like most of our panelists, I'm located in Denmark. During the day, I'm a product owner for a software company called Portchain, a company that is providing optimization software for scheduling and optimization of terminals for carriers, so ship carriers. And during the afternoons or during the nights, I'm a founder of Women Hack CPH, which is an initiative, a community initiative to organize and facilitate hackathon events for enabling women to join the tech industry within Copenhagen. And also I'm part of the initiative called Women in AI, where I'm acting as an ambassador for this global community of connecting more women within the AI and machine learning initiatives. This is an online community together with sponsoring events. And the online community is supported on a very active and energetic Slack channel. That's me.
Thank you. And if you want to connect with us later on, you can see the hashtag WEDevCommunity on Twitter. So we have a very international panel today. Let's start with a simple question first. How are you organizing events for your communities now? Any insights, any best practices that you could perhaps distill into us? Sakari, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, this system Corona came as a bit of a curveball to us all, of course. And at Finland Azure User Group, we host these open planning sessions every 4 to 6 weeks. And we usually have like 5 to 10 people attending, where we think of the next things we could set up. And when this came up and we realized we cannot anymore have in-person events, we started thinking what kind of things should we do now? And we came up with this idea that we haven't done previously. So if you go to Meetup and you search for Finland Azure User Group, we published an event where we have for the rest of the year, we have these 30-minute tips and tricks virtual Azure tips and tricks extravaganza to the max 2020 is the event name. So it's a short one, and what's cool about that? Usually meetup events are held during the evening. So these ones we are thinking of holding during the day, during business hours, and just 30 minutes, a presenter, anyone is talking about whatever they are doing. And what's been interesting is that with this new approach, we've been able to get presenters and talkers from the scene in Finland that aren't usually speaking at our larger events. So actually, I'm pretty happy about this approach.
Good. One of the insights many people from the community throughout Europe has raised, and I'm hearing that loud and clear, is also that organizing events doesn't just have to be during the work days or just during those weeks when you actually work. So possibly in June and July, which is typically the vacation time, it's also possible to have events at least this year. Okay, so what do you do to make communities and events more inclusive and accessible? Any thoughts on this, Maria?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's kind of, given the situation that we're currently in, a lot of these events that we primarily held to kind of either enable small communities to kind of thrive within the ecosystem that they are, disappearing from real time and kind of shifting online. So we see this very aggressive, in a way, shift towards hosting these events and communities and sessions online. So giving that is kind of translated into two areas from my side. One is to keep this ecosystem and this communities thriving online and continuing the momentum and the work that is happening within that area. But also, I think, given the fact that some of the other systems are also happening within the same framework, it's also important to kind of talk about this and have more events similar to this one, and having this discussion about especially inclusivity in this case, to facilitate this communities. I think kind of from a very small perspective to kind of really do a micro zoom in this sense, is to kind of enable specific tricks within this online ecosystem that allows your community to actually thrive and be alive online, even if it's not in person anymore, and kind of take into consideration like the language that you kind of introduce and you use within your online sessions, the time zones, and kind of taking sessions, as we mentioned before, from day to afternoon and afternoon to days, to kind of facilitate time zones and different different situations that the people might be in given this COVID lockdown situation. And of course, it's not only making the communities, but it's also kind of making sure everybody within the community feel included in the online session. A tip for that, I think, that works really well for us and for my teams, is kind of make sure that everybody, whenever the discussion spreads out, or if it's a coding challenge and so on, to make sure that everyone has a voice and are able to participate within this events.
Thank you. One of the things that I've been reflecting lately, especially on inclusivity and accessibility on events, is that in an event such as this Microsoft Build 2020, it's accessible and possible for everyone. You don't need to ask for a travel permission or apply for a visa or have the expenses covered. Everybody can attend, and I feel that's definitely one of the upsides of digital events. So how do you all feel about the future of community events? Are they digital, in-person, hybrid? Any reflections, insights here? Isidora?
Yeah, thank you, Jussi, for the question, and also thanks again for having me on the panel today.
So if you would have asked me that question a few weeks ago, I would have definitely said in person, because I just love community. I love connecting with people. I love establishing business relationships in person, as well as making new community friends at conferences. However, what I've seen in the past weeks and months in this current situation is how accessible and inclusive digital events have become. I mean, like, for example, when you look at Microsoft Build, the global reach, I mean, it's huge. Like, everybody who wants to can now attend Build. And we should also keep in mind that not everybody has the opportunity to travel, to go to international conferences around the world. So now the digital events, they're actually coming to us, to our home, just like you and me. We're also sitting now in our home offices. And what I also find very impressive now, what I also see with Microsoft Build, is the opportunities there are. So we see closed captions, we've seen American Sign Language. There are sessions in different languages, so you can connect with your local community in your local language. But also what's interesting to see is because it is so inclusive that everybody can join, there's also non-deaf content here at Microsoft Build. So if you look at the agenda, there are very cool sessions like yoga sessions or how to start sketchnoting. So yeah, I think that's really cool to see at a digital event. So if you ask me how I would see conferences in the future, what I would love to see is a hybrid scenario, so that the participant has the opportunity to choose whether you can or you want to travel to the other side of the planet to attend such a large conference, or if you stay at home and they can just watch all the content coming directly to you. So yeah, that's what I would love to see in the future.
Thank you. You mentioned yoga sessions. I've missed that one. So perhaps in the future, if we get to do a panel discussion, we'll definitely include yoga in there for the audience and for the panelists as well. Sakari, anything to add, any insights on how you feel about the future of community events?
Yeah, I totally agree with what's been said. I think that the digital events have really shown the new way we can approach to give everyone an opportunity to learn. Personally, I've been thinking about for us local organizers, it's a bit difficult to organize large virtual events. As a tip, at Finland Azure User Group, what we've been doing for the last couple of years, at least in our bigger events like IgluConf and PolarConf, we've been captivating and capturing all of the presentations, and we've just been pushing them to the FAUG YouTube channel. And I just checked the statistics. So FAUG YouTube channel during the last year has been watched for 3,000 hours. So I'm pretty happy about that practical approach to kind of widening the scope and giving the opportunity for global learning for people, not just to people who are around the capital of Finland.
That's great. And I also feel that when you push content to become more accessible, you mentioned YouTube, for example, and it also makes it possible for people who might be busy during the day or during the evening to catch up on that content later on, because the recordings are usually also available. Thank you. So during these times of no in-person events, how do you find ways to stay connected with the community? Goran, would you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's not quite simple. It would be nice that we have like only one tool there that we could use, and everybody's using that, and we are one big community split maybe by some interests and such. But the thing is, like, yeah, we need to use many different applications, groups, forums, and so on to stay connected with the people out there.
Thank you. Anything to add on this one, Isidora?
Yeah, so what I've noticed is actually the power of social media. I mean, I personally love social media. I'm very active on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. And what I've seen in the community is how many people have become more and more active on socials. They also have become more open. Like, for example, if you're in a call, it is okay if your kids walk in or if you hear a dog. I just feel everybody is like a bit more human. What I'm also seeing is a lot of discussions in groups on social media, as well as in the Microsoft tech community, where we can also find interesting blogs. What we did with our company, and I've seen many other companies doing the same as well, is like virtual social happy hours, pub quizzes, yoga sessions, for example, with your colleagues over Microsoft Teams. And yeah, also as we have heard yesterday in the keynote of Satya, that Microsoft Teams currently has over 75 million active users, which is just a proof how everybody's getting more and more connected. And what I think is also very important in any situation, but especially now as we're all in this together, check on your friends and check on your family, as well as members in the community. So stay active by scheduling virtual coffee breaks. And yeah, I just feel social media and Microsoft Teams, etc., is making us more connected than ever now.
Thank you. Great insights in there. I was delivering a webinar a few weeks back. It was a live version, and I told my kids that do not enter my home office. Daddy is doing important stuff. And my 2-year-old doesn't really get that always. So he was strolling in to show his latest finding. And it makes us all a bit more human because we are breaking this barrier between work, office, and home, and anything in between in there. So moving on to hackathons then. Any thoughts on those, especially on insights in attending as a participant or organizing perhaps one now? Let's start with Goran, please.
Yes, so I would say I have a lot of experience with hackathons as a participant, judge, mentor, organizer, and so on. I think I've been to hackathons in all possible forms. And like usually those developer competitions are organized like 24 hours or 48 hours event. And sometimes it's hard for people to participate, like to go actually to hackathon. And what I've seen recently in the past month or two, like those events basically exploded. There's a lot of hackathons, and people, a lot of people attend them because from comfort of their home, they can be there and adjust their tempo as they wish and compete and try to build something. So just recently, for example, over here in Sweden, there was a few weeks ago, there was a hackathon with 7,500 people. So can you imagine, like kudos to the team who was managing that, like a small team, but it was really amazing that so many people appeared to one competition and try to build something together. So yeah, I think we will see more and more hackathons like happening all around the world. And from organization point of view, I think it's yeah, now comes the challenge that you are organizing an event that is online 24-48 hours, usually whole weekend, right? And now people from all over the world can basically join it. So it's not just closed for in some city somewhere, right? And then you need to be aware of people joining from different time zones. You should be available to answer the questions all over the night and such. So it requires a bit more effort. And yeah, there are a lot of tools for that, for organization and such, and still a lot of tools that I see appearing, a lot of different applications that try to solve some of problems that people run into now with such a big communities.
Thank you. I'm reflecting back now on the first hackathon I organized in 2015. I knew nothing about hackathons then, And I set that to 4 hours. And when we were done, somebody came to me and said, Jussi, no, we're expecting this to be 48 hours. So where's the rest? And I learned my lesson since then. So what guidance would you give to somebody perhaps listening on this one and perhaps the recording later on? What sort of guidance would you give to somebody who wants to start a community today? Perhaps we ask Sakari first.
No. So what I would do when I started Finland Azure User Group in 2013, I just asked somebody from Microsoft, can I do this? And they looked at me like crazy, like why couldn't you do this? So there are these weird barriers to us, to experts, to people in different fields where they think they cannot do something without a permission from somebody or something. So that's one, get past that and just start tracking. And another one I would do is I would find the current influencers or people in the field who are already organizing something related to what you are passionate about. And I would just send them a message. Lean on those people who've already maybe solved some of the issues, who already maybe have the reach or have the connections or have the planning to make something happen. So if you're in Finland and you're listening to this, please send me a message and we can boost your community through Finland Azure User Group or whatnot. So I think those would be the practical things I would think about.
Great, and I think I speak for the whole Azure Dev PMM team that I'm part of, that if you're planning on building a new community, feel free to reach out to us. We are definitely happy to share any insights and support you from the Microsoft side as best as possible. Isidora, would you have anything to add on perhaps for somebody who wants to start a community today, what they should perhaps keep in mind or consider?
Yeah. So I fully agree with what you also said previously. Is if you need help, reach out. There are really great people in the community who you can rely on, so you don't have to do it alone. And also, what I think is powerful when you bundle strengths together, you will have different expertises. Of course, the more people you have, obviously, the larger your reach gets. And that's also very important to grow your community. And whether you want to start a podcast, a blog, or if you want to run online events, I think it's important you stay consistent and be active and be present and make your work visible. And what I also find very important is feedback. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Ask your community and take that feedback to learn and to make your activity even better for the future. And then something personally I would like to reflect on is I have been inspired by a very own Microsoft, Donna Sarkar at Microsoft Ignite Tour in London, who actually said in a session, even for example, for a blog, even if there's so much content out there on a specific topic, don't feel like, oh, then I should not write about it. Just do it. There's always somebody in the community who is interested in your opinion or to hear what you have to say about it. So yeah, ask for help. Don't be shy. Take feedback and just do it.
Great insights. Thank you. One more question. How do you enable local and global growth? How about you, Maria?
Yes. So I think given the current situation and global COVID situation especially, is there is more need now than ever to kind of live on this community's initiative. And I guess what drives this first is kind of also gives an opportunity for these communities to intentionally or unintentionally to grow globally or locally and expand in different directions. So I believe kind of giving the situation is part of the natural progression that will happen in the upcoming months. But having this in mind and having this information in mind is also important to still keep the right momentum. So it doesn't mean that all the initiatives that happened in before, just because the setting is different, that the work is either less or more. You still have to kind of be active on it and engage constantly and keep the momentum running of whether or not is sharing content or us having meetups or having more online sessions. I think the second most important thing, especially when you start scaling up your communities and have a bigger impact, is also very important to have the right team and the right mentors and reach out to the people that inspire you and can actually help you to do this kind of steady growth. So having the right team and the right people to inspire you, but also help you to push you, but not to keep you back, is very important. And of course, given the fact that we have a variety of social media channels and kind of ways to communicate through to kind of our users, is making sure that everybody is feeling connected and included. So it is important to have this different means of media or communication channels enabled for your community to be active and be able to communicate to each other, but also to you. So kind of enabling the social media channels that are most related to you, so very direct, like Twitter and maybe Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, and also having kind of the channels that you're able to communicate your content through. So whether or not it's newsletter, or again, it could be Twitter or YouTube in this case again. Yeah.
Good, thank you, great insights. And our time is up. I want to thank all the panelists, Sakari, Isidora, Goran, and Maria. Thank you for taking the time. I also want to thank everybody in the audience. Feel free to reach out to the panelists, to our team as well. And I am handing this over next to Maxim. Thank you.
Hello, 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 dear participants of Microsoft Build Community Connect. Norway is speaking. My name is Maxim Salnikov. I'm Dev PMM for Norway. And let's talk about the event or family of events called Hack the Crisis, which we recently had in around 70 countries of the world. These were 48 hours hackathons focused on brainstorming and building the projects to mitigate the consequences of the crisis invoked by coronavirus. These events were supported by many local and international companies and governments, and of course Microsoft took active part in supporting and contributing to these events in many countries. This idea was very well perceived by the local technical communities, and if you see the numbers on this slide, they are very inspiring. So well over 10,000 of participants only in these 4 Nordic countries, just an example, hundreds of mentors, hundreds of teams, and hundreds of great projects submitted as an outcome. Every country had its own organizing team and its very own setup. Some of the countries had studios, some of the countries did it like completely online, but the goal was common. The goal was to build projects, or at least brainstorm ideas which will save lives, save communities, and save businesses in these times. I enjoyed supporting of Hack the Crisis event in Norway, and it's my great pleasure to interview Lisa Malner, who actually organized this event in Denmark, and also she was taking active part in European chapter of this event. And just a reminder, we have a raffle, and you can get awesome swag pack. For my session, the challenge is super simple. If you ever took part in one of these Hack the Crisis events, just tweet about this and use hashtag #WeDevCommunity, WE Dev Community, and good luck. And here is my interview with Lisa.
So people bear with us, we're working through these audio issues. In the meantime, we still have Mads Torgersen here in our moderator panel. If you have any questions specifically to Mads, go ahead and ask them while he's here. This is your opportunity to get some airtime from Mads. Maybe one I'll have for Mads is Mads, what is your favorite new feature in C#? Maybe you can come off mute if that's fine for you.
Sure. Oh, I'm even even on video. Good thing I combed my hair. Yeah. Well, it's always hard to pick a favorite because I get whichever one I'm working on that day is my favorite. I get sort of sucked into each one of them. But definitely the biggest area of focus in the next C# is on better representing immutable data and working with it. So we have a notion of records that is a kind of class that is more value-like, that has facilities that has value equality, but also has facilities for creating new versions of itself with little things changed, kind of having this non-destructive mutation support. So that's probably my that's certainly the biggest thing. So that's where I spent most days thinking this is my favorite feature.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely, and good insight. What I was wondering, now you're saying like you spend most of your day thinking about these kind of things. What does your typical day actually look like? I'm kind of interested in getting kind of a view on your agenda.
Yeah, well, the sort of backbone of the heartbeat of my work is the C# language design meeting. So we have a set of about 10 people from various teams, including the compiler team, but also other teams that meet twice a week, 2 hours twice a week, and discuss C# language design. And so that's sort of where the big creative work happens, and I'm the only one who gets actually paid to just do that, to do language design. Everyone else comes in from some day job they have. But that's really where, like, writing up proposals for that, like studying the different possible approaches to problems that we have and so on. That's a big part of my day. Then of course, events like Build and writing about it, speaking about it, also taking part in various other projects at Microsoft when people want me to sit in on them.
Oh, okay, yeah, thanks. One thing I was wondering as well is now with all of the open sourcing happening for .NET and all the various things that we do in the developer teams, how has that changed basically your life as being kind of the lead designer of C#? Has that fundamentally changed?
Yeah, I would say fundamentally, actually. We used to be extremely secretive about how we built products and what we were doing with them, including the language, including C# and the language work we did. And then we would come out after 3 years and say, ta-da, here world, here is the next C#. And we would usually be lucky that people would like it because Anders Heilsberg was in the lead back then. But we wouldn't really get this kind of fine-grained feedback over time that we do now. So the openness and the actual open sourceness of language design, like we have all our design documents in a repo, .NET/C#lang on a repo on GitHub. And we get feedback every day and suggestions and conversation and discussion all the time. And that has really, I think, helped. It helps us focus on the right things and not embark on, big expensive mistakes. But it also helps us in the details so it helps us get the right features and get the features right, if you understand what I'm meaning. Both at the macro and the micro level. So that's really been, I mean, I don't have the level of intuition that someone like Anders had when he was running it. And so I really need that all the time in order to be sure that we're on the right track with things.
Yeah. Now, talking about Anders, I can imagine it's got big steps, big shoes to fill.
Yes.
How long would it have taken you kind of to get up to speed on, basically, because he has all of this knowledge from years? How much time basically did it take you to get pretty much on par, if you may say so, with Anders?
Well, first of all, I probably am not, but also I mean, I spent, was it first 7 years or so of my time in Microsoft. We worked together. He was leading C# design, and I was there too. So I learned a lot from him and from the other people involved in design. So when and then we actually went together and started TypeScript with some other people on the JavaScript team. So I did spend a good amount of time learning from him, and then when it came time to do the next version of C#, one of us had to go back and to C# from the TypeScript work, and that became me, and that was sort of my chance / horror scenario of being in charge of it all of a sudden.
Of becoming the captain.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Mats, for jumping in so unexpectedly and for having this chat with us. I think we can get back to our director and see if we got the interview with Lisa back up. Okay, it seems we can't. So we'll definitely share this interview with Lisa through our online channels, definitely, because it's a very valuable interview and something you can't miss. So expect to see that coming up in the coming hours. So I think with that we can hand it over to Florian.
Yes, hello. Yeah, oh, wonderful. So, hi, my name is Florian, calling in from the beautiful city of Zurich in Switzerland. Actually, let me do this. I hope you, my colleagues might recognize me because I actually managed to get a haircut right before this event. So, looking good for all of you. And I will use the next 10 minutes or so to talk a little bit about developer and developer pet projects. So. Maybe to start it off, before I forget about it, if you have a pet project, if you have a project that you do in your free time, or you're super passionate about it, or you contributed, please tweet about it for the opportunity to win some swag. It's hashtag WEDevCommunity exactly. So yeah, so this is what we will spend the next 10 minutes or so about. I have a few guys with me to talk a little bit about themselves and about their projects. Maybe just to start it off a little bit. So why developers and pet projects? I mean, the right-hand side, this is me with my pet. She's quite a lot of work and pretty hairy, but pet projects are a thing, and it's my hypothesis is particularly a thing with our profession, with developers, because most developers, or many developers that I have met, and I've been a developer myself quite a while ago, is we are some kind of special breed. We're not just writing code or developing applications is for many of us not just a profession. It's kind of something that we're actually passionate about. Like we really take pride in it. We're really fascinated by it. We really love what we are doing, and that's why we do things. That's why we even spend not just code for food during the daytime, but also, I don't know, hack for good in the evenings and on the weekends. That's why we go to hackathons. And maybe that's different or something that's a little bit unique to our profession. I mean, I never saw or never heard of, I don't know, tax accountants going to taxathons or something like that. So this is really something I feel is a core thing to our profession. And I would love to understand a little bit more about like two person that I'm really happy to have on the call today and talk a little bit about their projects, Mark and Abidemi. So maybe let's start with Mark. Mark, are you on the call?
Yes, hi there.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for tuning in. I can see you. Cool. So maybe just start off with the next slide and then have a look at what you're doing and what your pet projects are. Maybe you can start, just describe a little bit who you are, what you're doing, and what makes you, well, even after the work hours, to invest some time into pet projects yeah, keep working on those.
Yeah, will do. So I'm Mark Duiker. I'm an Azure MVP. I work as an Azure consultant for Xperit in the Netherlands. And yeah, most of you who will know me know I'm a big fan of Azure functions and also durable functions. So I spent quite of my free time actually also to research those projects and just to learn more about them. Yeah, because I'm also doing this consultancy work for clients, so I want to be well informed. So it has to do with work, but also my passion, because I just like technology and in specific serverless technology. So my pet project for a while is the Azure Functions Update Twitter bot. Quite a mouthful. And the reason I made this Twitter bot is the Azure Functions ecosystem is getting larger and larger every couple of weeks. When Azure Functions was just there, it was just a couple of packages and a couple of GitHub repos. But now it's I think I'm monitoring like 35 GitHub repos, which are all related to Azure Functions. So it's getting actually, for a developer, it's getting a bit hard actually to stay up to date with all kinds of new releases, because there are different language workers, and there's all kinds of different extensions for Azure Functions. And as a developer, you won't use all of them the whole time, but it is nice to be up to date with all those related releases. So that's why I started like a little bit less than a year ago. I started to write this Twitter bot, which is also written with Azure Functions and also durable functions. So I wrote an orchestration, and it has a couple of activities. So it will first retrieve some configuration, which GitHub monitors, GitHub repositories actually want to monitor. And then every hour I'm checking those GitHub repositories, and I'm using the GitHub API to actually get the latest releases for those repositories. And then I'm comparing that since I have last run this orchestration. And if there's anything new, then I store that in table storage in Azure, and I'm posting a tweet to Twitter with a link in there, so people can go to the specific release information related to that Azure Functions repository.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. So it's actually something that that is useful to you. It's not just like flexing your development muscle. It's actually solving a problem that you have, or a use case that you came across.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what language are you using, by the way? So I understand Azure Functions, you can write in different languages. What is your language of choice?
Yeah, that's definitely C#. Yeah, sometimes I'm meddling with some other languages, but I'm most comfortable with C#. So I've written this in C#. Yeah.
All right. Okay, pretty cool. And looking forward, what do you think? What is the future of the project? Do you think like it's pretty much done, or you have plans for expanding it? Are you looking for contributors, or kind of extending it? What are your plans?
I definitely want to extend it, because right now I'm only monitoring GitHub repositories, but I also want to monitor, let's say, NuGet packages or npm packages. Right. And I also want to look into monitoring specific documentation around Azure Functions. So Maxime Nourier also did some nice work about monitoring documentation, so maybe I can borrow a bit of his work. So if people want to help, it's definitely possible. It's all out in the open on GitHub, so people can definitely contribute. So that's nice. Another thing I want to do is, besides this Twitter bot, is I actually want to make another Twitter bot, because one of your DevPBM colleagues from the Netherlands, Suzanne Daniels, is working on a nice project where people can go to a GitHub repo and they can you can submit a link to a recording of a meetup or a virtual conference there. And she made a website, so which is actually an index of all kinds of these recordings of all the meetups and conferences. So I'd like to help her out and also make a Twitter bot, so whenever someone has submitted a pull request and that's merged, so there is a new recording available, that we can send out a tweet to notify people, okay, there is a new recording added to this index where people can get some more information and look at that video.
All right, that's pretty cool, and that would actually make my life also a little bit easier. So maybe I will join you guys on that project.
Sounds excellent. Yeah.
All right. So Mark, thanks very much, and it was really interesting about your project. I wish you all the best, and I will definitely check it out. And for everybody else on the call, if you want to join and contribute and file some pull requests or something like that, the project is on GitHub and open for everybody to contribute. All right, thanks, Mark.
Good.
And now coming to our second guest for today, Abidemi. Abidemi, are you there? You are there?
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Abidemi. Thanks.
Hello, Florian.
So
hello, everyone.
So thanks for joining us today. So Abidemi is actually, I have to give a little bit of background. We met in one of those recent hackathons that have happened around the current crisis. So there was a hackathon that was organized in Switzerland by ETH Zurich and the Swiss government. It's called Code versus COVID-19, and it was a virtual event. And in that event, actually, Abidemi and I, we met or we joined together a project that was interesting. It's called Doctor at Home. And I wanted to hear today from her a little bit about well, first of all, what is she doing? What motivated her to join the project? And also a little bit what she learned during this exercise and being part of that project, where actually we were a group of people working together, and Abidemi did some pretty cool stuff there. So maybe start, Abidemi, with introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about what made you motivate to join the hackathon and that particular project.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abidemi. I'm 25 years old. I'm a student in the Technical University in Munich, Germany. I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in informatics, and I'm also working part-time as a working student at a company called Reply IG, where we develop innovative solutions for customers using the Salesforce platform. So I have majorly I program using C# and on the .NET platform. So recently, I've always wanted to do more projects with to try out other languages, because I'm still in the learning phase of my career and I like to learn new things. So I decided to join this hackathon that was hosted by ACK Zurich, and it was an initiative for the COVID situation. So I got in contact with some people and joined the team on the hackathon, and there was this really interesting project that was advertised, and it was called Doctor at Home. And basically the idea was to use to ease the massive influx of patients at hospitals by making it possible for patients to stay at home and also simultaneously monitor patients at home. So with focus of on the elderly people. So the German government, they had this, not the German government, researchers, they had an idea that we could give the patients pulse oximeters where they could monitor their breath rate, their temperature and other health parameters from home. And the first idea was that they give people at the call center telephone, and they call the patients maybe 3 times a day. So that brought about the idea for the Doctor at Home project to to automatically call this patient and gather these parameters and send to the doctors. So the doctor can monitor this on the dashboard, and they know when their patient really needs help and when they really need to come into the hospital. So I found the idea for the project really interesting, and I decided to join because it was interesting, and also because I wanted something to get my hands on. So I was responsible for the back end of the project, which I did using Spring, though that was actually my first major project using Java, because like I said, I've worked for like 2 years using C# and .NET, and it was also basically mobile application development using Xamarin and WPF. So
okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, and now it's your chance to tell, for example, Matt's on the call, how bad it was to switch from C# to Java. So that's, but how did it feel? I mean, I've been a Java developer back in the days by myself, and I guess it would not be, back then I liked it, but these days it would probably not be my language of choice, because it feels super heavyweight and it compiles very slowly. But maybe it's just me. How having the background with C# and .NET, and now you tried Spring and Java, how did it feel?
Well,
be honest.
Yeah, well, actually, I think because C# is kind of like my first love in programming language. At the university, we start with normal C and C++, but then we have to like choose an object-oriented language. And for me, like C# was kind of natural. I particularly love the ease of use and the usability, basically, and that is something that Java is lacking a bit in it. I find C# easier to use than Java. But
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, that's great. Okay, so thanks very much, Epidemic. That was very interesting. I think it's fair to say the project is still very early prototype state. It's also on GitHub, and it's very interesting how the different parts fit together and were all implemented in different languages. So let's see if if we will continue to work on it, or if we refactor it or redesign parts of it. But I think the idea was pretty good. It actually won an award on that Code versus COVID-19 hackathon. So yeah, let's see how it evolves. And if anybody wants to join, there are the links, and you can have a look at the repositories or at the video and find out more by yourself.
Yeah,
all right.
Join. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Abidemi, for joining us on the call. Yeah, so I hope that was interesting. It was just 2 of the pet projects that are out there. There are many, many, many more, of course, in our region and Western Europe and in all the countries around. So if you have a favorite pet project of yourself or something you're really passionate about and you want to tweet about it using the hashtag WE-Dev-Community and win some cool swag. And with that, I would like to hand back to Nick for the closing of the session.
Okay, thank you, Florian, and thanks to all the speakers, and basically thanks to everyone in the developer community. Those pet projects really demonstrate the value of the developer community. It's all about sharing with others, mentoring others, and basically whoever is in the community, whoever was here presenting what they did, are really the true heroes. And when we talk about heroes, you may have seen the message from Suzanne and in the Q&A. We have our program which is called Azure Heroes, which is actually a program that is only there to recognize people in the community. So its sole purpose is really recognizing whatever greatness that you are doing in the community. And so as you learn, as you mentor, as you coach other people, as you create inclusive communities for others to join, you really are valuable, and we want to appreciate you for doing all this, and that's why we have created Azure Heroes. And so you can claim your Azure Heroes badge using the link that Suzanne posted in the Q&A. So definitely, if you know somebody else, you can also nominate others. Now, talking about community, on June 3rd, we will have the virtual Azure Community Day, which is a full day. And when I say full day, it's 24 hours, because we are taking the example of Build, where we want to have everyone across the globe to be able to join this amazing sessions by community speakers. And so definitely check out azureday.community. Pretty much most of the schedule has been published right now. So there's something for everyone, and so a big kudos again, an excellent demonstration of what the community can deliver. In this specific instance, it's delivering content across the globe for you to consume. And then finally, there's one event I wanted to share with you as well. We've touched upon the topic of open source. So on the 16th of June, there's the European Virtual Open Source Summit with a lot of amazing speakers, a lot of great content, all centered around open source. Amazing speakers from open source companies like GitHub, like Red Hat, like Elastic, and many, many more. Of course, we'll have Microsoft speakers there as well, and Brendan Burns, who was here on chat as well, will be there speaking. We'll have Scott Hanselman, and again, many other renowned speakers will be sharing there. I have one final thing I wanted to share. So thanks a lot for your contributions to posing all of your questions. So there's definitely first and foremost a shout out to all the heroes from our team that were sitting behind the scenes. Suzanne, Juarez, Christian, Victor, Tibi, who have all helped out to make this possible. Without them, when we see glitches, they are behind the scenes working to get those resolved and really bring you this experience that you've had. So a big shout out and a big applause for them, and also the other people that we didn't put up here, but that contributed a lot to this session. And then the final thing, so I said thanks a lot for your questions. So we've been tracking all of the interactions that we've seen here, and we talked about swag many times here. And there's a number of winners that I can announce right now, and we'll be reaching out to you directly to kind of arrange all of the practical things for handing you those swag packages. And so I'd like to kind of name here Frederick Jung, you'll have Jasper Rijkenboer, Natalia Portillo, Tomislav Karafilov, and Gregor Sutty, who have been sharing their insights, their experiences, have been posing great questions. And thanks to all of you for sending in your questions and contributing to this awesome community. With that, I want to thank you once again, and enjoy Build.